For 50 years, if you heard the name Nimitz on the horizon, you knew the world's balance of power had just shifted. This is the story of the ship that became a legend. In the vast lexicon of military hardware, some names just carry more weight. They become synonymous with power, with an entire era of strategy and conflict. In the realm of naval warfare, for the last half-century, no name has echoed with more authority than Nimitz. The USS Nimitz, hull number CVN-68, is not merely a ship. It is a 100,000-ton instrument of foreign policy, a floating city powered by the heart of a star, and the lead vessel of a class that has defined American sea power since the Cold War. Its story is one of technological ambition, trial by fire, and incredible endurance. This is the story of the original supercarrier, the Titan that set the standard for all that followed. To understand the Nimitz, we must first look back to the years after World War II. The aircraft carrier had proven itself as the new queen of the seas, supplanting the battleship. The United States Navy, embracing this new reality, began building larger and more capable carriers, known as supercarriers, starting with the Forrestal class in the 1950s. These were giants, but they had a leash. They ran on conventional steam, guzzling immense quantities of bunker fuel. They had to be constantly replenished by a fleet of oilers, which limited their operational range and made them dependent on a complex logistics chain. The game changed in 1961 with the commissioning of the USS Enterprise, CVN-65. It was the world's first nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, and it was a revelation. With its 8 reactors, the Enterprise could circle the globe multiple times without refueling, staying on station for years if necessary. It was a monumental achievement, but also an incredibly expensive and complex one. Its 8 reactors and unique design made it a one-off vessel. The Navy knew nuclear power was the future, but they needed a more sustainable, scalable design. They needed a class of ships that could be built upon, improved, and produced in numbers. This drive for a new generation of nuclear carriers was spearheaded by one of the most formidable figures in naval history, Admiral Hyman G. Rickover. Known as the father of the nuclear navy, Rickover was a brilliant, demanding, and often abrasive engineer who drove the nuclear propulsion program with relentless force. His vision was for a carrier that was not only more powerful, but also more efficient than the Enterprise. The new design would use just 2 far more powerful A4W nuclear reactors, providing virtually unlimited range and enough electricity to power a small city. This was the birth of the Nimitz class, and for the lead ship of this revolutionary class, a special name was required. It was christened in honor of Fleet Admiral Chester W. Nimitz, the calm and brilliant strategist who had commanded the U.S. Pacific Fleet to victory in World War II. Nimitz was a revered figure, known for his leadership and composure in the face of immense pressure. Naming the most powerful warship ever conceived after him was a fitting tribute, a signal that this vessel would carry forward his legacy of American naval dominance. On June 22, 1968, the keel of the future USS Nimitz was laid down in Dry Dock 11 at Newport News Shipbuilding in Virginia. For the next 7 years, this shipyard would be home to a monumental undertaking. Over 20,000 shipbuilders would contribute to its creation. The scale of the project was mind-boggling. The ship was constructed in modular sections, some weighing over 900 tons, which were then lifted by a massive 900-ton gantry crane and welded together with surgical precision. When it was complete, the statistics were, and still are, staggering. The USS Nimitz measures 1,092 feet, 333 meters, long, just shy of the Empire State Building's height. Its flight deck spans 4.5 acres. Fully loaded, it displaces over 100,000 tons of water. Deep in its core, 2 pressurized water nuclear reactors generate immense heat, boiling water to create steam that drives 4 massive turbines. Together, these turbines produce an estimated 260,000 horsepower, rocketing the colossal ship through the water at speeds in excess of 30 knots, or about 35 miles per hour, 56 kilometers per hour. Its reactors provide it with a theoretical range that is almost unlimited. It's capable of operating for over 20 years before needing to be refueled. The purpose of all this engineering is to support its primary weapon, the carrier Airwing. The Nimitz can carry up to 90 aircraft, a mix of strike fighters, electronic warfare planes, early warning and control aircraft, and helicopters. It is, in effect, a mobile military airbase that can be positioned anywhere in the world's oceans. To launch these aircraft, 4 massive steam catapults can accelerate a 50,000-pound, 22,680-kilogram jet from 0 to 165 miles per hour, 265 kilometers per hour, in just 2.5 seconds. To land, pilots must catch one of 4 arresting wires with their tailhook, a feat often described as a controlled crash. Finally, on May 3, 1975, the USS Nimitz was officially commissioned into the United States Navy. The ceremony was a major event presided over by President Gerald Ford. In his speech, he captured the ship's purpose perfectly, stating, "Wherever the United States ship Nimitz shows her flag, she will be recognized in peace as a quiet, firm protector of the powerful. She is a solid symbol of United States strength, United States resolve." With that, the most powerful warship ever built put to sea, ready to begin its half-century of service. The first few years of the Nimitz's career were spent shaking down its systems and integrating with the fleet. It conducted its first major deployment to the Mediterranean Sea in 1976, immediately establishing a powerful new presence in the tense Cold War environment. But its first brush with global fame came not from a conflict, but from Hollywood. In 1980, the Nimitz became the setting and co-star of the science fiction film The Final Countdown. The movie, about the carrier being transported back in time to the eve of the Pearl Harbor attack, showcased the ship's awesome power to a global audience. The sight of F-14 Tomcats dogfighting with Japanese Zeros became an iconic piece of cinema, and the Nimitz was cemented in the public consciousness. Life, however, would soon imitate art in the most tragic way. The same year the movie was released, the Nimitz was on station in the Arabian Sea, its mission far from fictional. In November 1979, Iranian students had stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, taking dozens of Americans hostage. After months of failed negotiations, President Jimmy Carter authorized a high-risk rescue mission, codenamed Operation Eagle Claw. The plan was complex, involving multiple branches of the military. The Nimitz was a key component, serving as the sea-based platform for the Marine helicopters that were supposed to fly into Iran. On the night of April 24, 1980, 8 Sea Stallion helicopters launched from the deck of the Nimitz and flew towards a secret desert landing zone in Iran, named Desert 1. The mission was plagued by problems from the start. 3 helicopters suffered mechanical failures, one in a blinding sandstorm. With only 5 operational helicopters left, one less than the minimum required, the mission was aborted. It was during the withdrawal from Desert 1 that disaster struck. A helicopter, attempting to reposition, collided with a C-130 transport plane that was on the ground to refuel it. The resulting explosion and fire killed 8 American servicemen. The surviving forces evacuated, leaving the bodies and several aircraft behind. The Nimitz could only wait, its crew helpless as the tragic news filtered back. The failed mission was a national humiliation and a somber moment in the carrier's early history. Just over a year later, the Nimitz would have a chance to prove its combat effectiveness under very different circumstances. In August 1981, the carrier was conducting exercises in the Gulf of Sidra, off the coast of Libya. Libya's autocratic leader, Muammar Gaddafi, had laid claim to the entire Gulf as Libyan territorial waters, dubbing it the Line of Death. The U.S. and other nations rejected this claim, recognizing international maritime law. To assert the freedom of navigation, President Ronald Reagan ordered the Nimitz and its battle group to sail through the Gulf. On the morning of August 19th, 2 F-14 Tomcats from the Nimitz's Black Aces squadron were flying a combat air patrol. They detected 2 Libyan Su-22 fighter bombers approaching. The American pilots maneuvered to show they were not hostile, but as they turned away, one of the Libyan jets fired an air-to-air missile at them. The missile missed, but the hostile act was unmistakable. Under the rules of engagement, the Tomcats were cleared to fire back. In the ensuing dogfight, which lasted less than a minute, both Libyan Su-22s were shot down by Sidewinder missiles. The F-14s and their pilots returned to the Nimitz without a scratch. It was the first time carrier-based F-14s had scored air-to-air victories, and it sent a clear message. The USS Nimitz wasn't just a symbol. Its crews were trained, ready, and lethal. The incident solidified the carrier's reputation as a formidable instrument of American power. As the Cold War waned, the role of the Nimitz shifted from confronting the Soviet Union to acting as a global policeman and first responder. During the 1991 Gulf War, Operation Desert Storm, the Nimitz was not initially part of the main force, having just returned from a deployment. However, it was deployed to relieve the USS Ranger in the Persian Gulf partway through the conflict, helping to enforce the peace and maintain pressure on Saddam Hussein's regime. Throughout the 1990s, it would return to the region repeatedly to enforce the no-fly zones over Iraq as part of Operation Southern Watch. In 1996, the Nimitz was called upon for a different kind of power projection. Tensions flared between China and Taiwan, with Beijing conducting missile tests in the Taiwan Strait in an attempt to intimidate the island nation. In a decisive show of force, President Bill Clinton ordered 2 carrier battle groups into the area. The USS Nimitz was rerouted from the Persian Gulf, making a high-speed transit to join the USS Independence near Taiwan. The presence of 2 American supercarriers, with their combined air power, sent an unambiguous signal to Beijing to de-escalate. The crisis passed, but the mission highlighted the unique ability of a carrier like the Nimitz to influence geopolitical events simply by showing up. The dawn of the new millennium brought with it a new kind of war. After the September 11th attacks in 2001, the USS Nimitz became a central player in the war on terror. In 2003, it deployed in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. Its Airwing flew thousands of sorties over Iraq, providing close air support for ground troops, striking strategic targets, and gathering intelligence. The carrier would conduct multiple long deployments to the Persian Gulf and Arabian Sea over the next decade, supporting both Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. Its sustained, high-tempo operations demonstrated the incredible stamina of both the ship and its crew, proving that even after decades of service, the Nimitz was still at the very tip of the spear. A warship designed to last for 25 years was now pushing 30, then 40, and then approaching 50. The secret to this incredible longevity lies in a process known as the Refueling and Complex Overhaul, or RCOH. This is a massive 4-year-long midlife refit that every Nimitz-class carrier undergoes once in its service life. The Nimitz went through its RCOH from 1998 to 2001. It is far more than just a tune-up. The ship is essentially disassembled. Its nuclear reactors are refueled, a process that provides another 25 years of operational life. Its propellers, rudders, and catapult systems are refurbished. Its combat systems, radars, and electronics are ripped out and replaced with state-of-the-art technology. The ship that emerges from RCOH is in many ways a new vessel, ready for another quarter-century of service. Life on board this floating city is a world unto itself. The USS Nimitz is home to a crew of over 5,000 sailors and aviators when its Airwing is embarked. It is a diverse, 24/7 operation. Below the chaotic symphony of the flight deck lies a labyrinth of passageways, workshops, living quarters, and command centers. The ship has its own television station, newspaper, post office, and desalination plants that produce 400,000 gallons of fresh water daily. The galleys serve over 18,000 meals a day. It is a demanding, often grueling environment where crew members work long hours in close quarters for months on end. Yet it fosters a unique sense of community and purpose. To serve on the Nimitz, the old salt of the fleet, is a source of immense pride. Even in its twilight years, the Nimitz continued to make history. It has been a test bed for new technologies and has continued its deployments around the world, most recently operating in the tense waters of the Pacific. Its very existence is a testament to the brilliance of its original design and the dedication of the thousands who have built, maintained, and served on it. The USS Nimitz was not just the first of its class. It was the blueprint. The 10 carriers that followed, from the Dwight D. Eisenhower to the George H.W. Bush, are all based on its fundamental design, with incremental improvements along the way. For half a century, this single class of warship has formed the unchallenged backbone of American naval superiority. The final voyage is now on the horizon. The USS Nimitz is scheduled for inactivation and decommissioning around 2026. After more than 50 years of service, the nuclear reactors that have powered it across millions of miles will be shut down for the last time. The long and complex process of defueling and dismantling the ship will begin. A final, somber chapter for a vessel that once seemed invincible. It will be replaced by the new Ford-class carriers, a next-generation design intended to carry the torch for the 21st century. But the legacy of the Nimitz is secure. It is a story written in the skies over the Gulf of Sidra, in the tense waters of the Taiwan Strait, and in the dust of Iraq and Afghanistan. It's the story of a technological marvel that became a cultural icon, a ship that served as both a shield and a sword for its nation. It bridged the gap from the Cold War to the War on Terror, proving that a well-designed ship, crewed by dedicated professionals, can adapt and overcome any challenge. The USS Nimitz did more than just show the flag. For 50 years, it was the flag, a floating piece of American territory and an undeniable symbol of its power and resolve. It truly is the ship that became a legend. The story of the USS Nimitz is a reminder that behind every piece of incredible military hardware are decades of planning and thousands of human stories. Its half-century of service is almost unparalleled. But what do you think is its single most important moment? Was it the dramatic dogfight over the Gulf of Sidra, its critical show of force in the Taiwan Strait, or its long, grinding work during the War on Terror? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if there's another legendary warship, warbird, or iron horse you think needs its story told, drop your mission briefing for us below. Your idea could become our next investigation. If you enjoy diving deep into these incredible histories, make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on so you don't miss the next chapter in our journey. Thank you for watching.